Hey, Odd, what's going on? I think that's just about everything. Post. Oh, sorry guys, I'm getting everything posted. There we go. Now I can chat. Oh, here we go. Hey, can you be a mod? Hey, Sea-Dog, you can be a mod, just not right away. I don't give everybody mod status. You've got to be a regular participant in the live streams. And we do the live streams a couple times a week because I'm a small channel and that's what I do. So, Gunshots has been around for a while. So that's why he's a mod. But dude, so I just saw, it looks like the at the House of Representatives level, the one big beautiful bill had suppressors removed completely from the NFA, and that just passed. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing for the Second Amendment, everybody. Some people are upset about that. They need to get over it. So it's going to, hey, what's going on, Shoot? So it is like no NFA. I think it's going to be treated just like a regular firearm. I think that's what they'll do is they'll let you just buy it, or like an accessory even. I think there's some wording in there, but my understanding is it's no longer going to be tracked. You're no longer going to have a tax stamp, and it's no longer going to be part of the NFA suppressors. And they're working on getting SBR is added to it. I realized it says who's expired for suppressors. That's not what it's supposed to say. There we go. Odd. NFA is the National Firearms Act. It is a law that was passed back in 1934, and it's what makes it so that you can't have suppressors and short barrel rifles. Yeah. You had to register them with the ATF. You had to pay a tax stamp. You do all these things to just own things that have existed, you know, in that continue to be used and available to lots of people in Europe, but not here. Because there was this idea that it was going to make it easier for people to be assassins, and that's just stupid. That's not true at all. So I'm pretty excited about that, because what that means is that you can even make your own suppressor now, which is really, really good. So, I'm excited, but there's some people that are very unhappy. There's at least two people in the House of Representatives that are on the right side of the aisle that are not happy about it. Exactly, shoot. You're right, Odd, it doesn't. RP Tactical's in the house, guys. He's here. We can settle down. No, I'm excited. I think this is a really good thing. This is a major win for the Second Amendment. What will be ideal is if SBRs get put onto this, and then eventually the Supreme Court gets involved and names SBRs. Flanker D, welcome to the channel, bud. Welcome to the live stream. If then SBRs are also SBRs and suppressors by the Supreme Court, if they get defined as arms. Yeah, but before that happens, we need things like SBRs and suppressors defined as part of arms, so that it is protected under the umbrella of the Second Amendment. SBRs will be a little bit easier, because if they're no longer part of the NFA, then they're just a type of rifle, which is an arm. People say it's so that it's easier to conceal, but it's no. RP Tactical saying hi. So what I'm hoping is that then they full on were able to eventually get machine guns and the Brady Act repealed too. Once we have that, then we're all in a really good spot. Then we're living a lot closer to what the founding fathers wanted the Second Amendment to be like. And if you're ever confused about the Second Amendment, I highly recommend you read the Articles of Confederation and read Article 46. It's pretty cut and dry. James Madison was not a. I like James Madison because he didn't believe in misinterpretation, and I think they had to deal. they had to deal with people not really understanding what command meant, like when they said, don't do X. And I think they really struggled with people not understanding what it meant by don't do X. And so James Madison was really good at like, here is what we mean when we say don't do X. And this is what X is. So if you are still confused with this very plain and simple and direct language, and that's why you have instructions. Really well written instructions should make you feel kind of stupid. You should feel like, well, I know how to do that. But you should feel kind of like, oh, I know how to do that. Because there should be no way at all to misinterpret what is being said in properly written instructions. Exactly. Gunshots. Exactly. Also, anyone who says that that the Second Amendment didn't sorry. Anyone who thinks that the Second Amendment didn't include like advances and automatic weapons, fully and semi-automatic weapons, anything like that, obviously they've never actually studied history, because they definitely had fully automatic, or they had what the closest thing to automatic weapons was back in during the Civil War, or not the Civil War, in the Revolutionary War. That's good. I'm glad you passed firearm and hunter safety. Intra, no, I do not have a Mosin. I do not have a Mosin. Keblamo, well, well, well. No, it's pretty direct. In fact, there was what was it? It was called the rotating puckle gun, and it was basically a mini cannon, right? So it shot mini explosive rounds, and it was on a great big cylinder, and you rotated it like this, and every time it went boom, 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 and it shot like explosive rotating rounds. Yeah. Baba Yaga doesn't own a Mosin because he knows that Mosins are overpriced and kind of garbagey. Yep, the Gardini air gun was another one. So the founding fathers, like as much as people say, like they were smart enough to write documents to help us establish a nation built on a democratic constitutional republic, to succeed and last and really only have a couple of years. But they weren't smart enough to know and foresee what military arms might turn into, even though most of them saw like major advancements in military arms, like the change in the way that that even their rifles of the time, like the way that they evolved and the accuracy, like going from a smoothbore rifle to a rifled barrel rifle, going from ball ammo to like actual cartridge shaped ammo, those were huge technological advancements for firearms. And they were all there for that. A lot of that happened during between 1700 and 1800. So to say that they didn't know what they were thinking or talking about when they wrote the Second Amendment is stupid. Dangerous in the house. So yeah, I thought we'd start a little early today. I got excited when I saw that 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 bill had passed the House. And so, yeah. So I'm hoping here in the next short while it passes the Senate. And this, no, we don't do suppression here on this street. I'm very much aware, Mike, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that Canada has rules that prevent you from owning basic self-protection tools. Dangerous. Don't get too excited. Unless, of course, you're on you're also on your special OnlyFans, Only Guns, and you're getting paid to stroke the Beretta 71. Then by all means, continue. Yep. So, yeah, I'm trying to decide if when all this is said and done, if I want to go buy a suppressor or if I just want to buy a 3D printer and print a suppressor. Because I know that I can print one. I know there's tons of plans and things out there for simple suppressors that I can purchase or that I can print and just have it work on most of my muzzle devices and everything. You'll probably buy a good a good one. Probably not from Silencer Co. though. I am a firm believer that Silencer Co. was only interested in supporting suppressors remaining on the NFA because they know that what's going to happen is suppressors are going to start to become a lot less expensive. That's what's going to happen with machine guns and SBRs. Once those things are removed from the NFA and they're no longer a specialty item, they're going to get way less expensive. In fact, firearms across the board, once this happens, are going to get less expensive. All of these things are good for the everyday user, the everyday shooter, people that want to have a practical firearm for home defense or as a truck gun, whatever. I'm digging it. I love it. I can't wait to go get a can for my my 9mm AR. I'm gonna get a can. I'm gonna get a different upper, I think, for my regular AR. Anybody that's got a 300 blackout is going to be able to just throw a can on it, and then it's going to be even more practical. 300 blackout is going to be way more practical now. Yeah. You can suppress revolvers, Arizona. You can suppress revolvers. In fact, I think in theory it should be easier to suppress a revolver. You just have to get the end threaded and then and go from there. Man, it's crazy. Okay, so on my channel right now. All right. That's fair. All right, if I go to analytics and I go to channel dashboard, okay, I can look at full analytics right now. All right, there are 36,000 people watching videos on my channel. And I know that they see the live stream thing. I know it says that I'm live. Coors Light, Connoisseur, J-Dog, what's going on, buddies? I'm not saying it's practical. I'm just saying you can. So, yeah, so there's like my I can see real-time views of like the different videos that are on the channel. That one video is really helping the channel grow, by the way. Like, to give you an idea, if you guys look, we're at 5,000, almost 5,600 subscribers. On Tuesday, we were at 4,200 subscribers. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited that video's doing well. And I've got a couple of other videos that are starting to go pretty well too. So I'm excited. Who'd have thought? J-Dog knew all along. He would say all the time, all it's going to take is one video. And like, I thought a video that hit like 100,000 was viral. But now I've got that one that's really, really, really going viral. So, you should, Arizona. Dude, do you want me to just build one for you? Do you want me to build the specs out for you? Tell me what your budget is, and I'll help you build a really, really good computer that doesn't, like a good either desktop, or I'll help you find a good laptop within a budget. I am a computer scientist, and I that's one of the things I do with my business. I don't do it very much, because most people already have, like, I work mostly with businesses in my business. But in fact, that gives me an idea for because you're janitor, that's right. Take me up on the offer. Okay, do you want a desktop or a laptop? Yeah, I also like my business is called Wi-Fi Guy for a reason. For the Air Force, I'm trained as a cyber transport, which is a network engineer. I worked for a company called Ubiquity for a couple years, doing quality assurance and firmware and product development. Like, I'm pretty good. Like, I like guns. I really like guns. I'm not the super most knowledgeable guy when it comes to everything about guns. I know how to do research, and I'm pretty confident in my research. Johnny B, I'm sorry that you're not going to be able to benefit from some of the wonderful things that are happening in the House of Representatives, Johnny, because you live in commie land. But I hope that changes soon. That momentum builds. But yeah, so if you guys ever need like help with like your business, if you need help with your networks, getting like a better, more stable Wi-Fi signal, if you need a new computer, you guys can always ask me stuff that's not gun related, especially when it comes to technology, because I mean, I'm pretty okay at it. I'm pretty good at that. It definitely helps pay the bills. So, well, are you going to do business stuff from it? Do you want it just for streaming? Are you going to try to create content and film with it? Because like my laptop that I have is a pretty good gaming laptop. You can suppress a shotgun, Johnny B. You can suppress a shotgun. Just get a shotgun suppressor. And then you can do your little rifle inserts or whatever. Editing mostly? Okay. So editing mostly. I might let me see what I can do, Arizona. Let me see what I can do. Email me, Arizona. Email me at belowaverageutahdad@gmail.com so that I can build some specs and look for some stuff and make some recommendations. So, I mean, until right now, suppressors aren't completely illegal. Hey, Practical, what's going on, buddy? Suppressors aren't completely illegal. They're NFA tax stamped. So my suggestion is that if this passes, you go build one or buy one right away for whatever you have so that you can get one that before New York decides to make it completely illegal. What's my favorite tank? Dude, I don't know a lot about tanks. I'm going to say the Abrams just because the Abrams is just the best tank on the planet. It's just the best. The Abrams tank is like the F-22 of tanks. And anybody who says it's not doesn't have, they just don't know. They just don't know. Leopards are good too. But leopards are good tanks too. Yeah, the bill will let you buy suppressors without a tax stamp and without the registration at the NFA. Yep. I'm so excited. You know who I'm excited for? You want to know what gun company I'm excited for? Because they are going to just start chucking them out. Again, I'm going to boost them up. Is Palmetto. Palmetto's going to find a way, and High Point. I can see both Palmetto and High Point finding a way to build maybe not the sexiest looking suppressors, but they're going to have like some super inexpensive, awesome suppressors that they're going to be able to just start pumping out. And they're going to be like $100. It's going to be like 100 or 200. Fair, J-Dog. Fair. Get out. No, they're going to do it. They're going to do it, Luke. It's going to happen. I like PSA. I know that they do not have the best QC. I know. They have issues. They have the warranty that they have for a reason. But they build good stuff. Like for the most part, again, I would say that 90% of their stuff is good enough for the everyday person. And as long as the everyday person, all right, regular Joe Blow, thanks, Luke. Glad to have you here. The more people that are armed, the safer our society is. The more people that know there's the potential of being armed. Yeah, I agree with you, Practical. Like, you hear about things, and to a degree, not going to step back from SIG because of what their stance is with firearms and carrying around not in the chamber, because screw that. But if you consider how many firearms and parts they put out, and how many, like, if they're putting out millions upon millions, it's just like that conversation I had about the Pokemon and the Lions. Like, yes, if you have 1 billion of something, if 1 billion or 1 million of something, or 2 million of something that they put out, and 1,000 of them have a problem, like, there's a big difference between 1,000 and 10 million. So, thank you, Luke. I'm glad that you like PSA. I wish that PSA could do, like, I think it'd be great if PSA did a Benelli clone. Like, I know that other countries make them, but I think if PSA did a Benelli clone, that would be awesome for states like Illinois. It's probably just because the majority of what they build Yeah, I agree. Dangerous. I think they have. Some, I think all U.S. manufacturers have some work to do on AKs when it comes to the AK. We're an AR-15 country. All right. Now AKs are niche, and they're great. Now that's awesome. A 507 shotgun clone is awesome. So something that would be compliant. No, they do. They do. There's and so but I think a company like PSA has the opportunity to really hammer down and figure out how to make it more practical, how to make it economical and practical. Once they kind of have, think about like Glock clones. Okay, there are lots of people that make Glock clones. PSA kind of started doing it, I think, and P80, Polymer 80. There are a couple of companies that are making Glock clones. Is their Glock clone, are the daggers perfect? They're not. But once they kind of figured out how to make it, like, let's say 90 to 95% of their products, like, I'm going to say, like, I don't want to say, like, amazing. I want to say, like, decently functional. That's when you saw other companies starting to go and explode in productivity and capability and stuff. So, exactly. Well, that sounds like my son's mowing the lawn because it's summertime here. Today was officially the last day of school for my kids. So, I don't think they do. I think they promote Rock Island. I think Rock Island, I think, kind of has the market on the super inexpensive 1911s. Rock Island and Thesis. No, Coco. Go on. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, I think Rock Island and Thesis are like. See, somebody said that at Thesis, I heard a couple people talking about how Thesis are just meh. My dog is staring at me through a crack in the door. Hey, Mountain, I am here. We're here. We're talking about suppressors. We're talking about companies. We're talking about how this is going to help lots of different companies and just the firearms market in general. Oy. Like how suppressors, companies that are out there that make suppressors, they're gonna have to start making suppressors more cost effective. If this passes the Senate, if this Hearing Protection Act and removal of suppressors from the NFA, and even better if the SBRs get added to it and pass the Senate, like I really foresee a lot of just amazing good things happening from this regarding the firearms market and regarding just like for regular everybody. 100%. No tax stamp. No. None of that stuff. J-Dog, I think that's the provision, is because right now it's not an arm. It's a controlled item on the NFA, but it's not a firearm. So the only thing that it would be is in order to require a background check on a suppressor, unless you're going to make it yourself, the only way to force requiring a background check is going to be to define it as a firearm. It would have to be defined as an arm by the Supreme Court. Imagine how many Suburbans will be outside of your house, though, after you order one. That's just it. How they won't be able to track it anymore. That's my understanding, is that the current verbiage is that it treats it as an accessory. Yeah. So the only way that they can require a background check on a suppressor is if it is defined as a firearm. It's already passed the House, bud. And we have more people, conservatives and Republicans, the conservative Republicans, there are more Republicans in the Senate majority than there were in the House. I don't believe so. I don't believe you'll have to ship it to an FFL. That's nice, Dangerous. Arizona, I got your email. So if you're still on watching, just know I got your email. I will work on something, and I'll maybe do that later tonight or tomorrow morning, and then I'll send it up. Naughty, hey, what's going on, Naughty? How is the Snecky quest coming? What do you mean? Oh, for getting a Snecky. Well, I have that video that's doing really well. Supposedly, am I a veterinarian? I am a vet. Yeah. I am a vet. Just not a veterinarian. Sneck. Yep. My son has a drone. My son is actually a licensed amateur drone pilot. He took drones this year in high school, and so he's a licensed amateur drone pilot. And supposedly, I mean, he took the state license. He might be getting a letter in the mail with his real license pretty soon. So. Yeah, so Sneck, the whole story behind Sneck, guys, is you guys have seen Snecky, which you guys can go buy a Snecky from my channel. I have an affiliate link that takes you right to Snecky on Amazon. But my kids and I were at Petco, and we saw some real snakes. And so then we had the idea, or the kids had the idea that, hey, why don't you get a snake that looks like Snecky, and then you can have an actual live snake as part of your live streams and some of your videos and stuff. And it was actually a really good idea. So that might could happen. That might could happen. It would be pretty cool if we can make that happen. Really, it's not a matter of it's not possible to happen. It's more a matter of, will my wife still be married to me if I make it happen? You'd think that answer is just an immediate yes. Like, oh yeah. But, you know, some people's kids. No. I think we got a pretty high. We cannot touch any of the guns on the live stream. It's also not an M4. I think she's kind of impressed by it. I don't know that she cares that it got 1.5 million views. I'll be honest, bud, I don't really watch a lot of sports. I played sports in high school and elementary school and middle school, so I just don't really watch sports. I sometimes watch the Super Bowl. I'll go watch sports in person, like if I have tickets. And I watch my kids. I watch my daughter run track and field and cross country. We have some friends who have a son that plays soccer. He's pretty good at it. But that's about it for sports. It's just a regular AR-15, naughty. In theory, you should be able to, Mountain. Let's do a Google check. Let's do a Google check. Will I be able to buy a suppressor without a background check if the HPA passes? Okay, so according to FFL 123, the HPA, the current verbiage in the HPA would still require a standard 4473. But I don't know how they're going to be able to do that because it's not an arm. It's not defined as an arm. So that's what I don't understand is how they can make that a requirement if it, like that's gonna go to the Supreme Court. I know that. So if the ATF does, but does the Supreme Court? Because if it's no longer on the NFA, then it's not gonna be subject to the ATF anymore. So the ATF defines it as a firearm, but does the Supreme Court define it as a firearm? It's going to create a whole mess of things. I'm really excited. This is really going to start. That's what I mean. There's so many implications to this passing that it's going to change the way, like the Supreme Court's going to have to get involved and actually define what arms are. So, and again, so even if it passes the Senate, like I can literally see companies going out and saying like Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition. So this is all federally. Naughty. I do like hunting, I just don't do it very much anymore. So this is all federally. And the reason that, like, again, all the implications of this, it forces, one, it's going to force Democrats to show their hand and that they actually really hate anyone who owns firearms. They only want the elite and themselves to be protected by it. Well, and that's where the Supreme Court's going to have to get involved because if it's just the bill that's defining it as a firearm and the Supreme Court does not uphold that it is a firearm, which I'm all for. If I have to go get a 4473 to buy one, but I'm allowed to make one on my own without filling out a 44, I'm all for that. I'm fine. A background check's fine. The reason that the Supreme Court needs to get involved is because until that happens, if it just is part of it is this bill and it's defined that way, you're going to have organizations like Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, pro-gun groups that like that it's no longer going to be regulated by the ATF and the NFA, but they're going to say the bill says that it's a firearm, which requires a background check, and that's fine, but what does the Supreme Court say? Does the Supreme Court find that this is protected under the Second Amendment as an arm? All right, Luke, thanks for stopping in. Glad to meet you. Thank you. I appreciate the W. W streams are always awesome. So it's got a lot of implications to it, and it's really good because when the Supreme Court gets involved and they have to start defining things, that's also going to force definitions on things like SBRs, which should be very standard definition. Machine guns, like all of that is going to have to start being defined properly. Because like right now, a switch for a Glock is considered a machine gun, but it's not an arm. It's not. It's an accessory. So it's really fun to see how this is going to affect things and what this can mean moving forward in the future. Like I'm very, very excited. I agree. But before they do that, again, the big thing is they need to define what is an arm. SCOTUS needs to define what an arm is. Because once it does that, yeah. What's going on, Floor? Once you've got that definition, then you've got the power of the Constitution behind it, and then you have to actually have the Supreme Court would have to then rule against it, and there would have to be an amendment to change the Constitution. That would have to happen. So this is very, very, very good for all gun owners and Second Amendment absolutists. This is going to be one of the things that changes the path. That's what I mean, gunshots. That's why I say, even with the HPA saying that it's a firearm doesn't mean that it's actually a firearm. Only the Supreme Court can define it as a firearm. So, this will all be really... There's risk, but sorry. Got a couple notifications. I just checked them out. So, yeah, I think it's going to be, I think overall it's going to be a very good, oh, wait. Somebody just called out Baba Yaga. Right, Floor? I now have the next video that's gonna go onto the website. That's gonna go onto the channel. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I got your email, Arizona. I will. Airsoft and paintball. If you've got pest dogs, if they're not yours. If it's your dog, then I don't know what to tell you, gun. But if it's just a random neighborhood dog, oh, it's yours. So he's just a turd. That's like Coco. She's kind of a butthead. She barks at everything, and she, like poodles. Anybody, if you think a poodle is this small little, like dainty dog, they're huge and they are obnoxious. They sound like bloodhounds. So, yeah, it's I'm excited. Needless to say, I'm very, very excited to see what happens with all of this. Yeah. And they're like, that's what they sound like. Bye, Luke. Thanks for stopping in. I'm glad that I could help another very young person have a good time on YouTube. A safe and instructional good time. Because for whatever reason, yep, it was a good stream. I'm glad you like it. Go tell your parents and their parents. All right, Arizona. I'll send you an email. You'll get an email in the next couple days. I'll try to keep it close to that budget. You out of here, Floor? Is everybody getting ready to leave? Has everybody got stuff they got to go do? That's cool. I'll probably end the stream if we got stuff we got to go do. I gotta film some stuff for the next video. Dude, I'm telling you, just a paintball gun. On this Mossad gun. Dude, dangerous. Have you heard of the Magpul Masood? You're good, Floor. Oh, gotcha. It does, and your dog will think twice before doing it. If he doesn't stop the first time, he'll stop the second. So I know that I can't remember what I was watching. I don't think it was Future Weapons, but it was like 15 years ago. You can Google it. No. So you know so Magpul helped design the ACR. Yeah, that's probably a little bit kinder, one of those Orbeez guns. Magpul helped design the ACR, which was pretty cool because it's mostly an AR. It's kind of like a cross between an AR and like a SCAR. And, then they sold it to Remington, and then Remington's, they acquired Bushmaster, and Bushmaster started developing it. And now, I can't remember who has it now, but somebody owns the copyright and the patent or the whatever for the ACR, which is awesome. I like the ACR. I think conceptually the ACR makes a lot of sense. Where instead of swapping out an entire upper, you can just use a quick tool to swap the barrel and swap the bolt carrier group, and then you're good. I know that at one point Magpul was working on designing a 308 version of the ACR, and it was called the Magpul Masood. And it was designed in such a way, my understanding is that it was designed in such a way that all you would have to do is basically any 30 caliber round that would fit in a standard and a standard like AR-10 chamber, or a standard AR-10 magwell, that basically you only needed to buy the barrel, and that you would never have to change the bolt carrier group. And they never really talked about how they made that happen, but because it just kind of died. But it is a really interesting. It was a really interesting concept. I remember watching it, and so I ask people if they've ever heard of the Magpul Masood, and it's supposed to be something special, and I wonder what Magpul ever did with it, if it ever went anywhere, if anyone ever worked on trying to develop it. Because I know that like Colt had their modular type rifle that they built or announced, where all you had to do was swap the barrel, and it was supposed to be kind of like that. You could swap the barrel, and you could use regular AR-15 mags or AR-10 mags, and all you had to do was swap the barrel, and then you could shoot whatever round you needed. Like, you didn't have to change the bolt carrier group, is my understanding. With I can't remember what it was called, the CR2 something. Yeah, I'd be very interested to hear if anything ever happened with it. Dangerous. Just made me thinking. Just got me thinking. Man, sorry, I'm spacing out. Alrighty, you know what? We've been going for about an hour. I think I'm gonna call it. Stream. We've lost some folks from the stream. That's awesome, dude. Go do it. Make some film. So I think I'm gonna end the stream, guys. Got a little bit more work I can do, and start getting ready for dinner. And then I don't know if we'll do another live stream tonight. We probably won't. I might do a an ASMR stream tonight, because we have work tomorrow. But I think we'll do a full live stream tomorrow evening. That might be fun. Maybe I'll do a dinner vid. Maybe I will do a dinner vid. I'll record a dinner vid and do a dinner meal and a recipe thing. So, or maybe I'll do a live stream that's dinner. I don't know. That could be fun. But I'm gonna let you guys go for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Stay out there. Thanks so much for making the channel grow the way that it has. And yeah, I'm excited that the one stupid breaking into somebody's house, the Sweet Caroline video, is doing well. I did one that I just launched earlier that's doing okay. Kind of slowed a little bit, but it was breaking into Walmart. That one's doing all right. People seem to be enjoying that. So we'll see how the channel keeps growing. I love it. This is really fun. I like having fun with you guys, and I like making the stupid videos and making everybody laugh. I think it's good for our mental health, and it's good to just keep us in check and remember the community that we're from, that we can be fun and not be serious all the time. There's a time to be serious, but I think most of the time we could probably take a step back and have some fun. So thanks, guys. You guys have a good night or a good afternoon, and if I can, I'll do a dinner live stream later. 4 seconds. 1 hour. There we go.